Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Noura Tamimi, a risk management analyst in the Central Bank of the UAE. Today, I'll be presenting Controlar Freeze, a new approach in visual screen security and financial technology. And to give you a brief about myself, I hold a bachelor's degree in information security and forensics from Higher Colleges of Technology, and I'm currently doing my graduate studies majoring in cybersecurity. I diverse in interests as I'm certified in finance, sustainability, and for sure technology. I am also a graduate of Future Sustainability Leaders Program of Masdar City. I am here today with your respected attending to raise awareness on minimizing the risks of shoulder surfing attacks happening in ATMs by introducing Controlar Freeze software and study. To start with, it is important to understand how physical security is important. Physical security is considered in all the security plans, as the objectives of physical security may vary from safeguarding personnel to information to equipment, IT infrastructure, facilities, and even the company assets. So we may consider that physical security is the first line of defense. Physical security sometimes prevents from physical attacks and also prevents from social engineering attacks. Social engineering attacks can vary from piggybacking or tailgating and shoulder surfing. And shoulder surfing is the one that I'll be focusing on today. Shoulder surfing is a type of physical attacks, and it is using the direct observation techniques by looking over someone's shoulder. And sometimes it is not the shoulder that we're looking over. It is the device that people are using or putting their passwords and personal information in. And sometimes the simple practice is done without the intention of taking data. But the aggravation of shoulder surfing phenomena makes it a tremendous privacy concern. And we all go through that. So when shoulder surfing is done maliciously or is done with bad intentions, we have case studies shows the consequences and vulnerabilities. The showing case study is a man called Theddius who waited for an ATM customer at the Napa Bank of America and shoulder surfed his password to grab $700 from the customer account. How did that happen? Well, firstly, the customer did not wait for the thank you message after the transaction he made. Second of all, there was no space between Theddius or the attacker and the consumer. Third of all, as the passwords of ATMs contains only from 4 characters or digits, it is easier to memorize. So Theddius exploited that vulnerability and gained $700. So we can understand that the impact of shoulder surfing can come with financial losses. But sometimes there are another losses or another risks that we can face. What are the risks of shoulder surfing? Well, one, the misusage of the collected data. What does that mean? The misusage of the collected data can make the attacker to make a withdrawal or a purchase something using your account, which is easy. And second of all, the attacker can steal your identity to open new accounts or take loans under your name. However, there are multiple and many risks of shoulder surfing, but sometimes this phenomena is done with no intentions, but sometimes it is giving it evokes the negative feelings for both parties, the attacker and also the consumer. But we have some existing solutions coming for the shoulder surfing attacks. We have the solutions vary from software to hardware, and we have the visual display and the privacy filter. Both are common and known as the screen protectors that we use for our mobile phones and laptops, or let's say in the daily life of us. But both are not overcoming the shoulder surfing attacks in ATMs. And the third existing solution is combination of hardware and software, which is the randomized augmented reality keyboard. We all have the QWERTY keyboards in our laptops. You can see the letter QWERTY, which means this is a QWERTY keyboard. However, this solution, as I said, it's combination of hardware and software where you can wear a VR, and the VR is provided with a software. So whenever is the person wearing the VR, he can see a different keyboard in the VR. So whenever he types with the keyboard that he sees in the VR. However, when someone else is shoulder surfing, he will think that the password putted is the password shown in the keyboard. This is an amazing solution, but however, again, it is not used for ATMs, as the ATMs has only numbers keyboard and no other keyboards. And not all personnel will be using the VRs while using their transaction or going to the ATM. For that, and coming to the most interesting part of the presentation, here we have the Controlar freeze, the proposed work. Controlar freeze is a software that is implemented using MATLAB scientific language, and it can be an added layer to security in the ATMs. So the Controlar freeze has an algorithm that detects more than one person in the scope of the camera. As you can see in the first picture, we have this person alone, but when someone comes behind him, the camera detects and then gives an alert. And the alert shows the person picture and shows a message that contains 3 options. The first option will be, I don't know the person. Whenever the person is clicking that option, the session will be terminated and the card will be given back. And the second option is, please take me to home screen. This also will terminate the session and will give back to the consumer his ATM card. And the third option will be, yes, I know the person. As sometimes we go to ATMs with a colleague or a mother or a sister or a husband. But that is also not appropriate, and it is confidential that you're showing your ATM password to someone else, even though you trust the person. However, when a person will click to that option, it will proceed with the payment. So no termination of the activity will happen. So, and the first 2 options, which is, I don't understand and take me to home screen, a capture of the person, the one who's behind you, will be taken for evidences and for future investigations if needed. So, in a simpler words, the expected results of Controller freeze will be the detection of more than one face in the scope of the camera. Second, notify the user of the ATM if someone is in the scope of the camera. And third of all, ensure the privacy of the users of information and raising the awareness of such attacks. Awareness is the key, as some people may stand and read carefully the instructions in the ATM, but they don't take into consideration that someone behind them can also happen to know the amount that is in their account or the password they have or whatever is in the account or the ATM screen. So here I will have a small demonstration that was done on a PC in order to simulate how would Controller freeze will act. Okay, so if you have seen the video in the last part, we had a small technical issue in programming it, but however, we can proceed with the implementation and troubleshooting later. So, as I mentioned earlier, awareness is the key. So there are multiple awareness campaigns that are happening during this year and the previous years. And compared to the previous years, the government of the UAE and the non-government entities have increased the number of awareness campaigns related to the banking fraud. As we have the UAE Banking Federation and the Telecommunication Regulatory Authority and Abu Dhabi Police are putting their effort and investing so much in the awareness in order to aware and raise the awareness to people to not fall to banking frauds, whether that it was phishing emails, phishing calls, SMSs, or emails. And also to aware them on the ATM screens. If you have visited any of the ATMs, you will be able to see about the banking frauds and the awareness campaigns they're spreading. Okay, for the future considerations for the controller freeze, we can put gaze detection algorithm and use machine learning and deep learning as an enhancement. Why did I mention that? Well, we have used we have tested the controller freeze software into multiple use cases, like women wearing niqab, people with eye injuries, people wearing headsets, or wearable headsets, let's say. So we realized that there are multiple use cases that cannot be detected, which are women with niqab and people with eye injuries, or people that are wearing t-shirts with a face within the t-shirt. So the gaze detection will be considered in order to look only for the gaze and where are they looking, and the machine learning for the t-shirts or for any wearable clothes that people are wearing with faces on or animals or whatever that the camera will not, or the detection algorithm will not understand. So deep learning will be also considered. And also the second future consideration is the cashless economy. During COVID-19 or the global pandemic, this caused the scaling to the cashless economy. Like now we're using Apple Pay, and now we're using only ATM cards. We're not using cash. So during 1 year, or let's say 10 months, starting from the beginning of 2020, we shifted to cashless economy. So the many years coming might be a difficulty for the controller freeze. However, we'll be using it, inshallah, and implement it as a trial in most of the ATMs. Okay, coming to the last part of the presentation, the main takeaways that you may take from this presentation, that shoulder surfing includes the misusage of data, and it can lead to identification theft. And the existing solutions may vary from physical to software, and the controller freeze is more difficult to tamper with compared to the existing physical solutions. And like the privacy filter and the QWERTY keyboard, the controller freeze cannot be tampered with unless there are cyber attacks or someone who is intending to hack the ATM of the software of the ATM. And the last and most important part is the awareness is the key of prevention. Thank you all. If you have any questions, please let me know. You can type them in the chat. Okay, so we have a question saying, what are the current challenges of this implementation? Does it still require more research? Okay, that is a good question. As technology is evolving and technology, let's say, is enhancing day by day and changes day by day, yes, this shall be a continuous research and continuous enhancements on this software. And it can also be implemented using other languages, which can also be considered in the research. Okay, we have a second question saying, is such solution costly to be implemented and why? To be honest, it is not costly. Well, based on the MATLAB usage, the MATLAB language that we used, it is not costly because the license of MATLAB does not cost much, and it is only a programming way, and it is only based on contracts. So we only need to contract with the company or the people who's owning the ATMs in order to implement or have the trial on. But other than that, there will be no costs unless we are going to use the face detection camera, like the real good quality cameras for the usage of the ATM or for the usage of the detection. Okay, we have another question. Does customer user awareness and education help prevent such attacks? And what are the main awareness points? Well, yes. As there are sayings in cybersecurity says that the people are the weakest chain in security. So I would recommend that people stay aware of physical attacks or cyber attacks or incidents or threats that are happening around the world. And especially with this pandemic, so many people has lost their jobs. And so many people are using alternatives to gain money, even if it was legal or illegal. So awareness can be the first step. Like me knowing that there might someone send me a WhatsApp message saying, your bank card is blocked. Please contact me, and puts his mobile number. This seems fishy. So if I was aware about this, I wouldn't fall for it. But if I wasn't aware, I will call the person. I will give him my personal email. I will give him my personal information and my confidential data, and he will gain benefit of it. So yes, the main awareness points that people should be aware of the cyber threats happening. What are the common small social engineering techniques that can happen? Some people will use the mind manipulation by calling you and crying or saying, I had an accident, please send me money, or something similar to that. But we cannot trust these people. We cannot unless we authenticate their identity. So yeah, I would say that people should be aware of the smallest things around them, because another people are staying and trying to exploit whatever vulnerabilities or weaknesses other people may face. Okay, we have another question. Has this been fully adopted or implemented anywhere yet? To be honest, until now, no. But hopefully in future or after this conference, someone will contact us in order to have it commercially or in a production level. But it was implemented as a POC, proof of value. Question 5. What's next for Controlar freeze? Okay. First, as I mentioned, the gaze detection algorithms and what machine learning methods or algorithms we should implement. Should we change the language that we used in order to complement with with the future steps? So yeah, I would say the enhancements of coding and the algorithms used, and then for the production level. Last question. You can, okay. So I believe there are no more questions. So thank you all for attending, and I hope that you'll be aware always. So stay safe and do not fall for any fraud.